Hello everyone. This is the fourth video on video series of organ function test. In today's video, we will discuss kidney function test, which is also known as a renal function test. To download lecture notes and other interesting stuff related to biochemistry, please visit website biochemistrybasics.com. Before going in the detail of kidney function test, first we will discuss what are the functions of kidney. So the first and important function of kidney is excretion of water and metabolic waste in urine like urea, uric acid and creatinine. The glomerular filtration and renal tubular reabsorption are the two major functions of kidney that are involved in the formation of urine. Nephron processes the blood supplied to it via filtration, reabsorption, secretion and excretion in the formation of urine. The kidney participates in the whole body homeostasis, regulating acid-base balance, electrolyte concentrations, extracellular fluid volume, and blood pressure. That is about the functions of kidney. Now we will see kidney function test. In order to assess renal function, a number of tests have been developed which give information regarding the following parameters. First one is renal blood flow. Second one is glomerular filtration rate, that is GFR. Third one is renal glomeruli function. Fourth one is renal tubular function. And the last one is urinary output. And the various renal function tests have been divided into following categories. First one is urine analysis, which includes physical examination, chemical examination, and microscopic examination to identify the presence of urinary cast and crystals. Second category is estimation of serum and urine markers of renal function, which includes serum creatinine estimation, estimation of serum urea or blood urea nitrogen, protein in urine, that is proteinuria, red blood cells in urine, that is hematuria. Third category is estimation of GFR. It includes creatinine clearance test, urea clearance test, inulin clearance test. Fourth category is test of renal tubular function, and it includes urine concentration test, which is known as a water deprivation test. Second one is urine dilution test, which is also known as an excess water intake test. And the third one is acid load test. So these are the four categories of renal function test. First, we will discuss urine analysis. Routine urine examination is usually the first test undertaken to assess the renal function, and very often it gives some important information like proteinuria, hematuria to do further renal investigation. The standard urine analysis includes physical examination, chemical examination, and microscopic examination of urine. Physical examination include 24 hours urinary output, that is urine volume, appearance of urine, that is color of urine, specific gravity and osmolality, pH of urine, order of urine. So first we will see volume of urine. The daily output of urine in adult is 800 to 2500 ml with an average of 1500 ml per day. The quantity normal depends on water intake, external temperature, diet, and the mental and physical state, cardiovascular and renal function. Polyuria is urine volume more than 2500 ml per day, and it occurs in diabetes mellitus, in which urine output is around 5 to 6 liter per day, diabetes insipidus, in which urine volume is around 10 to 20 liter per day, later stages of chronic glomerulonephritis, in which urine volume is around 2 to 3 liter per day. Second condition is oliguria, in which urine volume is around 500 ml per day, and it is due to fever, diarrhea, acute nephritis, early stages of glomerulonephritis and cardiac failure. The third condition is anuria, that is complete absence of urine. And it is seen in acute tubular necrosis, bilateral renal stones, and surgical shock. So that is polyuria, in which urine volume is more than 2500 ml per day, oliguria, in which urine volume is around 500 ml per day, and anuria, which is a complete absence of urine. This is the table showing the various appearance of urine and its significance. So normally urine is straw color and it is clear in appearance. If the urine appearance is cloudy, then it is due to the precipitation of phosphates on refrigeration, and it may also be due to presence of pus, which causes cloudiness. If the urine color is high color, then it is maybe due to concentrated urine or maybe due to the oxidation of urobilinogen to urobilin. If the urine color is yellow, then it is due to the excretion of bilirubin, which occurs in jaundice, and due to the B complex intake. If urine appearance is smoky red, then it is due to the presence of blood. If it is brownish red, then it is due to the excretion of hemoglobin in urine. If it is orange in appearance, then it is due to the high level of bilirubin and due to ingestion of rifampicin, which is an antitubercular drug. If the urine appearance is red in color, then it is due to porphyria or ingestion of red beet. If urine appearance is black in color, then it is due to the alkaptonuria or formic acid poisoning. If urine appearance is milky urine, then it is due to the chyluria. So this is the table showing the various appearance of urine and its significance. Now, specific gravity. The specific gravity indicates the concentrating ability of kidney. It normally varies from 1.016 to 1.025 with an average of 1.020. If renal function is impaired, the quantity of eliminated urine will be very less. In this condition, increased specific gravity may be seen. Now, low specific gravity. All causes of polyuria except glycosuria causes low specific gravity. And fixed specific gravity, in which urine's specific gravity is fixed at 1.010 and it occurs in chronic renal diseases when kidney has lost the ability to concentrate or dilute. So that is about low specific gravity and fixed specific gravity. Now pH. Urine is normally acidic in reaction with pH of around 6. Alkaline urine is found in urinary tract infection, that is UTI. Odor of urine. So fresh urine is normally aromatic. Foul smell indicates bacterial infection. Now we will see chemical examination and abnormalities detected in dipstick. So this is the table showing the chemical examination and various abnormalities which you can detect with the help of dipstick. So first one is the blood. You can check the presence of blood in urine with the help of Benzodine test, and blood is seen in urine in menstruation, traumatic catheterization, glomerulonephritis, renal stones, tumor and trauma of urinary tract, and excretion of hemoglobin in urine is seen in hemolysis. Second chemical examination is related to the protein. You can see the presence of protein in urine with the help of heat acetic acid test. And the proteinuria is seen in fever, exercise, orthostatic proteinuria, glomerulonephritis, urinary tract infection, and tubular diseases. Excretion of glucose in urine is seen in diabetes mellitus, renal glycosuria, and Fanconi's disease. And presence of glucose in urine can be checked by Benedict test. Benedict test is also semi-quantitative test. Then excretion of ketone bodies are seen in diabetes mellitus, uncontrolled diabetes mellitus, and in starvation. And presence of ketone bodies in urine can be detected by Rothra's test. Then another chemical examination is related to the bilirubin, and excretion of bilirubin in urine is seen in hepatitis and obstructive jaundice. And Bilirubin in urine can be detected by Fauchett's test. Urobilinogen in urine is seen in concentrated urine, hepatitis, intravascular hemolysis, and low in obstructive jaundice. Then another chemical examination is related to the bile salts. Excretion of bile salts in urine is seen in obstructive jaundice and it can be detected by Hayes sulfur flower test. Another two tests are nitrite and leukocyte esterase, which can be seen in urinary tract infection. So this is the table showing the chemical examination and various abnormalities that you can detect it with the help of dipstick. This is the multipara urine dipstick, and this is how you can do the interpretation of chemical examination of urine with the help of dipstick. This advantage of urine dipstick is it is cost effective, convenient to use, and it is very easy to interpret. Only disadvantage of urine dipstick is they are qualitative, they are not quantitative. Now microscopic examination. So this is the picture showing the various abnormal cells, cast and crystals in microscopic examination done from the urine sediments after centrifugation. So these are the various casts that you can see in the microscopic examination of urine, that is granular cast, hyaline cast, waxy cast, convoluted hyaline cast. These are the various crystals that you can see in case of various renal stones, that is sodium urate crystals, tyrosine needles, calcium oxalate crystals, uric acid crystals, and these are the various crystals that you can observe in alkaline urine, that is triple phosphate crystals, calcium phosphate crystals, calcium carbonate crystals, and amorphous phosphates. So this is the picture showing the various abnormal cells, cast and crystals seen in microscopic examination of urine. Now serum and urine markers of renal function. So first, serum creatinine and urea. Serum urea and creatinine are markers of renal function. Both these substances are primarily excreted in urine. Deterioration of renal function is therefore associated with increase in the serum level of serum creatinine and urea. Creatinine is considered as a better marker of renal function than urea because its blood level is not significantly affected by non-renal factors, thus making it a specific indicator of renal function. It is neither reabsorbed nor secreted from the proximal convoluted tubules. A number of pre-renal factors like dietary protein intake, renal perfusion, and post-renal factors significantly increase blood urea levels. That's why better marker for assessing renal function is serum creatinine. An impaired glomerular filtration results in retention of urea and creatinine, which causes an elevation of blood urea and elevation in creatinine. Normal level of blood urea is 20 to 40 milligram per deciliter and normal level of creatinine is 0.6 to 1.2 milligram per deciliter. An increase of this end products in the blood is called as azotemia. And the estimation of creatinine can be done by Jaffe's test, and estimation of urea can be done by diacetyl monoxide method or by urease method. Now cystatin C. Cystatin C is a more precise test for kidney function than serum creatinine levels. High concentration in biological fluids like breast milk, tears, saliva, and semen. It is expressed in virtually all organs of the body. The most abundant extracellular cystine protease inhibitors. It is the most abundant extracellular cystine protease inhibitors, and it is the sensitive early marker for kidney damage. Its level is not affected by age, sex, and body mass. The normal blood level of cystatin C is 0.8 to 1.2 milligram per liter. So it is a sensitive early marker for kidney damage as compared to the creatinine. Now test for proteins in urine. Normally, the total amount of protein excreted in urine over 24 hours is less than 150 milligram and is not detectable by routine test. The presence of protein in urine in excess of this is referred to as a proteinuria. Protein in urine is an indicator of leaky glomeruli and it is the first sign of glomerular injury before decrease in glomerular filtration rate. So protein in urine is an indicator of leaky glomeruli and it is the first sign of glomerular injury before any decrease in GFR. The glomeruli of kidney are not permeable to plasma proteins and therefore plasma proteins are absent in normal urine. When glomeruli are damaged in diseased condition, they become more permeable and plasma proteins may appear in the urine. The most common cause of proteinuria is loss of integrity of glomerular basement membrane, which is seen in nephrotic syndrome and diabetic nephropathy. Major protein found in glomerular proteinuria is albumin, and excretion of albumin in the range of 30 to 300 milligram per day is termed as a microalbuminuria. Excretion of albumin in the range of 30 to 300 milligram per day is termed as a microalbuminuria. Microalbuminuria is the earliest sign of renal damage due to diabetes mellitus and hypertension. Excretion of albumin more than 300 milligram per day is indicative of significant damage to glomerular membrane. Now, hematuria. Intact glomerulus doesn't allow the passage of RBC, but with severe glomerular damage, RBC leakage occurs. Thus, detection of microscopic hematuria or RBC cast confirm the glomerular damage and it is an earliest sign before the decrease in GFR. Now we will see estimation of glomerular filtration rate. GFR provides useful index of the status of functioning glomeruli. Renal clearance tests are performed to determine GFR. Clearance test. Renal clearance test is performed to measure the glomerular filtration rate. The clearance is defined as the volume of plasma which is in ml from which particular substance is completely cleared by the kidney per minute and it is expressed as a milliliters per minute. It may also be defined as that volume of plasma in ml containing the amount of particular substance which is excreted by the kidney in urine in 1 minute. And the formula for the clearance test is clearance is equal to U multiplied by V divided by P, where C stands for renal clearance, that is glomerular filtration rate of substance in ml per minute. U stands for concentration of substance in urine, that is milligram per 100 ml. V stands for volume of urine produced per minute, that can be calculated by dividing the value for the volume of urine collected over 24 hours by 1440. And P stands for concentration of substance in plasma, again that is in milligram per 100 ml. This is the formula for the clearance, that is U multiplied by V divided by P. Lower than normal GFR measurements indicate acute tubular necrosis, that is ATN, glomerulonephrosis, acute nephrotic syndrome, acute and chronic renal failure, that is ARF and CRF. In order to determine the GFR, substance should be selected in such a way that which is freely filtered by glomerulus. Shouldn't be reabsorbed or secreted, shouldn't be metabolized by the kidney, should not be toxic, and it should not be affected by dietary intake. These are the criteria for the substance selected for clearance test. The substances which are used for clearance test include endogenous creatinine and urea and exogenous inulin. First, we will see creatinine clearance test. Measurement of creatinine clearance gives an estimate of the GFR, helps in the early detection of renal failure. The creatinine clearance is determined by the collecting urine over 24-hour period, and sample of blood is drawn during the urine collection period. Clearance of creatinine from plasma is directly related to the GFR, which is calculated by creatinine clearance is equal to GFR is equal to U multiplied by V divided by P, where U is urinary creatinine in milligram per deciliter, P is plasma creatinine in milligram per deciliter, and V is the volume of urine excreted in ml per minute. Clinical interpretation of creatinine clearance. The normal range for the creatinine clearance is 90 to 120 ml per minute. A decreased creatinine clearance is a very sensitive indicator of decreased glomerular filtration rate. So decreased in creatinine clearance is an indicator of decreased in GFR. Reduced filtration rate may be caused by acute or chronic damage to the glomerulus or any of its components. Reduced blood flow to the glomeruli may also produce decreased creatinine clearance. Now we will see creatinine coefficient. It is the urinary creatinine expressed in milligram per kg of body weight. Value is elevated in muscular dystrophy, and the normal range is 20 to 28 milligram per kg for males, and for females it is 15 to 21 milligram per kg. Now second clearance test is urea clearance test. Urea clearance test is not as sensitive as creatinine clearance. Unlike creatinine, 40 to 60% of urea is reabsorbed by renal tubules after being filtered at the glomeruli. Hence, its clearance is less than GFR. That's why it is not as sensitive as creatinine clearance. Moreover, urea clearance is influenced by number of factors like dietary protein, fluid intake, infection, and surgery. Now, clinical interpretation of urea clearance test. The normal value of urea clearance is 75 ml per minute. The urea clearance between 40 to 70 ml per minute indicates mild impairment of kidney. Between 20 to 40 ml per minute indicates moderate impairment, and below 20 ml per minute indicates severe impairment of renal function. Third clearance test is inulin clearance test. So inulin clearance test is the method of choice when accurate determination of GFR is required. Inulin is a polysaccharide of fructose which is filtered by the glomerulus but not reabsorbed, secreted, or metabolically altered by the renal tubule. That's why it is a method of choice when accurate determination of GFR is required. The normal value of inulin clearance is 120 ml per minute. The main disadvantage in the measurement of inulin clearance is that inulin is required to be injected intravenously. So you have to inject inulin intravenously. From a practical point of view, creatinine clearance is used in clinical medicine as an assessment of GFR because in creatinine clearance test, there is no need of intravenous administration of creatinine. Since creatinine is produced endogenously, it fulfills all the requirement of ideal substance for the clearance test. And creatinine is freely filtered through glomerulus and it is not reabsorbed by the tubules. That's why from the practical point of view, creatinine clearance is used in clinical medicine as an assessment of the GFR. Now, there is an important drawback associated with the use of clearance test to estimate GFR is the need for an accurately timed urine sample. However, this problem can be overcome by employing one formula which can be used to calculate an estimated value for the GFR, which is called as a eGFR, using serum creatinine values alone by correcting for age, sex, and body weight. And one such formula is Cockcroft-Gault formula, which is estimated GFR creatinine clearance in ml per minute is equal to 140 minus age multiplied by weight in kg, which is corrected by 0.85 if female is there, divided by 72 multiplied by serum creatinine in milligram per deciliter. So this is the formula which is called as a Cockcroft-Gault formula for the estimated GFR, which is known as a eGFR, and the formula is 140 minus age multiplied by weight in kg multiplied by 0.85 if the patient is female, divided by 72 multiplied by serum creatinine in milligram per deciliter. An eGFR can only be used accurately in patients with chronic kidney disease, not on healthy individuals nor children and obese people. Now we will see test for the renal tubular function. So assessment of concentrating and diluting ability of the kidney can provide the most sensitive means of detecting early impairment in renal function, since the ability to concentrate or dilute urine is depend upon adequate GFR, renal plasma flow, tubular mass, healthy tubular cells, and presence of antidiuretic hormone, that is ADH. Urinary specific gravity and osmolality are used to measure the concentrating and diluting ability of the tubules. The first one is urine concentration test, which is known as a fluid deprivation test. In this test, fluid intake is withheld for 15 hours. The first urine sample in the morning is collected and osmolality or specific gravity is measured. If osmolality exceeds 850 milliosmol per kg or specific gravity of 1.025, renal concentrating ability is considered as a normal. If osmolality exceeds 850 milliosmol per kg or specific gravity of 1.025, renal concentrating ability is considered as a normal. Dehydration maximally stimulates the ADH secretion. If kidney is normal, water is selectively reabsorbed, resulting in excretion of urine of high solute concentration, and urine osmolality should be at least 3 times that of plasma, that is 286 milliosmol per kg. Now clinical interpretation. In case the urine doesn't have the specific gravity of 1.025 or osmolality 850 milliosmol per kg, it is sure that renal concentrating ability is impaired either due to the tubular defect or due to the decreased secretion of antidiuretic hormone which occurs in diabetes insipidus. So ADH test must be carried out. And if the tubules and collecting ducts are working efficiently and if ADH is present, they will be able to reabsorb water. In polyuria of diabetes insipidus, where the hormone ADH is lacking, or in nephrogenic diabetes insipidus, which occurs due to the lack of response to ADH, osmolality will remain constant even after the fluid deprivation. In practice, fluid deprivation test is extremely unpleasant for the patient and it is potentially dangerous if there is a severe inability to retain water. Clinically, the loss of concentrating ability is manifested by nocturia, that is, passage of urine at night, and polyuria. So, in practice, fluid deprivation test is extremely unpleasant. And clinically, the loss of concentrating ability is manifested by nocturia, that is passage of urine at night, and polyuria. Now urine dilution test. In urine dilution test, after emptying the bladder, 1000 to 1200 ml of water is given to the patient and urine specimens are then collected every hour for the next 4 hours. And the clinical interpretation is, under these circumstances, if the functioning of renal tubule is normal, the urinary specific gravity should fall to 1.005 or less, or an osmolarity of less than 100 milliosmol per kg. If the renal tubules are diseased, the concentration of solutes in urine will remain constant irrespective of excess water intake. So if the renal tubules are diseased, the concentration of solutes in the urine will remain constant. And renal or cardiac failure may be cause of decreased output. If the concentrating ability is normal, the cause may be extrarenal. And the last test is acid load test, which is also known as a ammonium chloride loading test. So in acid load test, it is occasionally used for the diagnosis of renal tubular acidosis, in which metabolic acidosis arises due to diminished tubular secretion of H plus ions. Ammonium chloride is administered orally to cause metabolic acidosis, and the capacity of kidney is assessed for the production of acidic urine. And urine samples are collected hourly for the following hours. Clinical interpretation. In normal subjects, the urine pH falls below 5.5 in at least one sample, and the normal urine pH is in between 5.5 to 7.5. In an individual with renal tubular acidosis, this decrease doesn't occur, which remains between 5.7 to 7. So that is regarding the clinical interpretation. So that is all about renal function test. These are my references. Thank you for watching. Please like, share and subscribe Biochemistry Basics by Dr. Amit. And don't forget to press the bell icon so you can get all the notifications from it.